There's blood on the walls, on the carpet, on her hands, and at the center of it all a dead body. But this isn't the end of the story, it's where the nightmare begins. She stands in the living room, drenched in blood. It coats the once cream rug, drips from the coffee table, stains her shirt, clings to her fingernails. She knows she should run, but the doorbell rings. A familiar voice calls from outside. Panic grips her. The door is unlocked. There's no time to clean up, no time to explain. If they see what's inside, she's finished. She bolts, leaving behind a crimson trail and a body. 3 months earlier, Millie, former housemaid and current social worker, is finally living her dream. A cozy house in Long Island with her husband Enzo and their 2 kids, Ada and Nico. They've left behind their cramped Bronx apartment for a place with stairs, a lawn, and hope. Number 14 Locust Street feels like a miracle even if it needs a little work. But across the street at 13 Locust, a dark silhouette stares from a window, watching, silent, unmoving. Millie's joy is infectious. She kisses the walls, marvels at the space. Her kids, though, have mixed feelings. Nico, 9, is already bouncing a baseball off the wallpaper. Ada, 11, is more mature and meticulous. Enzo, her charming, handsome, hard-working husband, is still unloading furniture with friends, determined to save money by doing the move himself. Millie watches him, still weak in the knees after 11 years of marriage. She glances back toward 13 Locust. The silhouette is still there, still watching. From the house next door, 12 Locust, emerges Suzette Lowell. Stylish, sharp, and instantly overbearing. Dressed like a real estate ad and wielding high heels like weapons, she strides over with a perfect smile and hidden claws. She's charming at first until she calls Millie's new home cozy and rustic, eyes the crumbling steps, and mistakes Millie's shirt bulge for a pregnancy belly. Awkward doesn't even begin to describe it. But the real problem? Suzette likes Enzo a little too much. As Millie attempts to unpack, her love for this house keeps her going even through the billion boxes. Enzo, ever helpful, offers his pocket knife and helps with the bathroom essentials. Their banter is warm, playful, domestic bliss. But when they try to get intimate that night, Millie freezes. Across the street, in the darkness of 13 Locust, she sees movement, a flash in the window. Someone is watching. She tries to shrug it off. Maybe it was just the wind, or maybe it's not. The next morning, Millie walks her kids to the school bus stop right in front of 13 Locust. That's where she meets Janice, her other neighbor. Janice is cold, skeletal, and intense. Her 3rd grade son Spencer is unnaturally small and leashed to her with a literal backpack harness. Both mother and child look pale and oddly dressed for spring. Still, Nico befriends Spencer instantly, and Millie tries to be polite, but Janice? She's not a fan of Suzette. In fact, she warns Millie, watch out for that woman, especially around your husband. Millie waves goodbye as her kids board the bus, her heart twisting with anxiety. Ada is nervous. Nico is excited. But Janice? Janice is horrified that Millie would let her kids walk home alone. Do you know how many children vanish every year? She says ominously. Her paranoia is unnerving. She talks of predators, abductions, even psychic investigations. And when she learns that Millie works, her judgment grows colder. A real mother stays home. Millie smiles tightly, but something curdles in her gut. This cul-de-sac isn't quite the warm welcome she'd hoped for. That evening, Millie scrambles to get ready for dinner at the Lowells despite Enzo forgetting the plan and arriving home caked in dirt. After a frantic shower and a last-minute warm-up of a store-bought apple pie, they're off. Suzette greets them in a perfectly curated dress, hair flawless, smile practiced. Her maid, Martha, is stiff, silent, and stares too long at Millie, like she knows something she shouldn't. Jonathan Lowell, Suzette's husband, is polite and bland, the kind of man who blends into the background. Their house is massive, renovated, and immaculate. Their behavior? Not so much. Suzette flirts openly with Enzo, barely hiding it, and when she offers Millie her maid services, it's clear she doesn't see her as an equal. She sees the former maid behind the smile. Over dinner, Suzette casually reveals that Millie's house? It used to be an animal shelter. That one across the street, she adds, nodding toward 13 Locust. That was the servants' quarters. Millie feels the blush rise in her cheeks, but Jonathan cuts in, kind and reassuring. He says their house is perfect. Not too big, not too small, cozy. Still, the seeds are planted. Millie starts to wonder, did they get the house so cheap because of a dark history? And if so, what's still hiding inside its walls? Dinner at Suzette and Jonathan's houses. Unsettling. Everything's polished to perfection, but the smiles are a little too tight. Suzette gushes about Millie's adorable house read, patronizing, flirts with Enzo under her husband's nose, and offers up her stern, silent maid Martha to clean Millie's home. Millie resists politely, but she's not fooled. This isn't hospitality. It's dominance, Suzette's way of putting her in her place. And that store-bought apple pie? Suzette eyes it like it's roadkill. Millie suddenly wants to go home. The next day, Millie's feeling unsettled. Something about the cul-de-sac feels off. Suzette is too perfect. Janice is too cold. And 13 Locust Street, always dark, always watching, feels like it's pulsing with secrets. Then comes the unexpected. Enzo brings home a praying mantis egg case, not exactly the pet Millie had in mind for their son Nico. She's horrified, especially when they mention it could hatch hundreds of baby mantises. Enzo and Nico think it's hilarious. She thinks it's a potential horror film waiting to happen. Still, Millie lets them keep it. She's trying to be the cool, easygoing mom, but inside, she's starting to unravel. At night, the house creaks. Footsteps echo. Shadows flicker across windows. Millie starts to wonder if it's just an old house settling, or something else. One night, she's in bed with Enzo when she sees it again, that movement in the window across the street. A flash of something. A face? She tries to ignore it, but deep down, she feels it in her bones. They're being watched. A few days later, Suzette invites Millie over for coffee. At first, it seems harmless to neighbors sharing gossip, but it doesn't take long before the tension creeps in. Suzette casually mentions Millie's work schedule, Ada's school, even details about their furniture, things she shouldn't know, things she could only know if she were watching. And then Suzette shows her a photo. It's harmless on the surface, a picture of her house taken during sunset. But Millie notices something. She's in the photo, visible through the upstairs window, brushing her hair. She tries to play it cool, but inside, a scream rises. Why was Suzette taking photos of their house at night? That same afternoon, Millie bumps into Jonathan outside. He's friendly, warm even. He confides that he and Suzette have issues. She's controlling, perfectionistic, unpredictable. He warns Millie, gently but firmly, not to get too close to her. She doesn't like to share, he says quietly. Millie's stomach twists. Why does that sound like more than just jealousy? The next day, Millie wakes up early and walks past Ada's room. Her daughter is still asleep, but as Millie approaches the front windows, she stops. Across the street, in the dim pre-dawn light, the window of 13 Locust Street is open and someone is sitting there. A figure barely visible, unmoving, staring straight at her. She blinks. The shadow is gone, but that chill, it stays in her spine all morning. Nico is thrilled when the praying mantis egg case finally hatches. Millie, less so. Tiny mantis babies scatter around the container. Enzo assures her they'll eat each other until only the strongest survive. That doesn't make her feel better. Meanwhile, Nico accidentally spills the FLIs, the live ones meant to feed the mantis. Now the house has loose bugs and a killer insect in a jar. Millie wonders if this is still the dream life she envisioned. One afternoon, a package arrives for Millie. No return address, just her name in scratchy handwriting. Inside, a single item, a used hairbrush, with strands of long, dark hair stuck in the bristles. Millie stares at it, frozen. That's not her hair. Ada? No, it's not Enzo's, and it's definitely not Nico's. S.So. Whose hair is it? And who sent it? She doesn't tell Enzo. She doesn't call the police. She hides the brush in the back of her drawer, like hiding the fear might keep it from growing. Later that week, while tidying up, Millie finds something. In the coat closet, a long red silk scarf. Definitely not hers. She assumes it must be Ada's, until she remembers. Ada doesn't wear scarves. And this one smells like perfume. Suzette's perfume. Millie's stomach churns. How did something that smells like Suzette get into their house? She confronts Enzo. He laughs it off, says she's being paranoid. But Millie doesn't laugh, because she's not sure anymore if she can trust what's happening or who she's living with. Suzette invites them for another dinner. This one is fancier, formal, almost too polished. The wine flows. Enzo laughs a little too hard at Suzette's jokes. Suzette makes subtle jabs at Millie, praising her career in a way that somehow makes it sound shameful. At the end of the night, as they're leaving, Suzette whispers something to Millie. It's soft, so quiet, she nearly misses it. If you don't take care of what's yours, someone else will. Millie doesn't sleep that night. It starts with a sound, a crash. Millie rushes downstairs, and there in the living room is a scene out of a nightmare. Blood. So much blood. On the carpet, on the furniture, on her hands, and in the center of it all, a body, unmoving, lifeless, bleeding out onto her dream house. The doorbell rings. She panics. Her fingerprints are everywhere. She's not thinking straight. The doorknob turns. There's no time. She runs. Millie is breathless, bloodied, panicked, and then the scene cuts. We rewind. Just days earlier. Life seems almost normal again. Ada and Nico are settling into school. The house is still chaotic but starting to feel like home. But then comes the news. Suzette Lowell has been found dead. Murdered. In her own home. Millie's heart drops. The body. The blood. Was it Suzette? And if so, who killed her? Detectives swarm. The neighborhood. The cul-de-sac becomes a circus of flashing lights and whispered questions. Millie is questioned. So is Enzo. So is Janice. Millie tries to appear calm, but inside she's unraveling. There's too much she isn't saying. Too many details she can't explain. Like the scarf that smelled like Suzette. The package with the strange hairbrush. The fact that she's been having dreams or memories of blood on her hands. Millie starts questioning herself. There are gaps, blackouts, moments where she can't remember what happened the night before. She finds items out of place. Dirty footprints near the back door. Her own clothes stained, torn in the laundry bin. And the dreams keep coming. Flashbacks of violence, of screams, of her holding something sharp. She begins to wonder, could she have done something in her sleep? Could she have killed Suzette? Jonathan Lowell becomes a ghost of himself. He walks the neighborhood like a widower in a trance. He says little, avoids eye contact. But one day, he pulls Millie aside. He's not grieving. He tells her, he's relieved. She wasn't what she seemed, he says, his voice cold. Then he asks a question Millie doesn't expect. Where were you that night, Millie? She fumbles for an answer. He nods like he already knew. The house is no longer a safe space. Millie starts to hear footsteps in the attic, scraping behind the walls, shadows in the hallway. She finds the basement door cracked open when she's sure she locked it. Ada insists she heard whispering in her room at night. Nico says he saw someone in the backyard. And then, one morning, Millie finds something taped to their front door. A photo. It's of her, standing in the upstairs window, brushing her hair. Again, just like the photo Suzette had shown her. But this one was taken yesterday. Millie confronts Enzo Dotti first. He brushes her off, says she's stressed, tired, imagining things. But when she shows him the photo, his face changes, tightens. There's something he's not saying. So she presses harder, louder, until finally he blurts, Suzette kissed me. Millie reels, her worst fear confirmed. But Enzo insists that was all. He pushed her away. He never told Millie because he didn't want to upset her. And now, she's dead. Millie doesn't know what to believe anymore. The media goes wild. Suzette's murder is everywhere. Reporters park outside. Neighbors whisper. Rumors spiral. The police confirm that Suzette was killed in her home, struck on the head with a blunt object, then stabbed repeatedly. They release no suspect name, but they do confirm there were fingerprints on the murder weapon. Millie's heart stops. She knows what's coming, because in her dream or memory she was holding the weapon, and it was covered in blood. In a moment of desperation, Millie decides to search the house from top to bottom. She needs to prove to herself that she didn't do this. But what she finds in the front hall closet sends a chill down her spine. A coat, it's hers. But she hasn't worn it in weeks. And in the pocket, a bloody tissue, a broken earring, and a smear of something dark. It's dried blood. Millie tries to call the police. She dials. Her finger hovers over the call button. But she stops. Because if she's wrong, if she's just imagining all of this, then she's about to ruin her life, her marriage, her family. She deletes the number. But the doubt lingers. One morning, Janice appears on Millie's doorstep, uninvited. Grim. She pushes past her into the house and says coldly, "You should be careful who you let near your children." Millie stares, speechless. "What are you talking about?" Janice looks around, eyes scanning every wall, every window. "I've seen people like you before," she whispers. People who snap. Then she leaves, her words echoing in the silence. Millie stands frozen, heart pounding. Does Janice know something? Or is she just trying to scare her? Or worse, is she right? The detectives return. They're more pointed this time. They ask about Millie's movements the night of the murder, where she was, what she wore, why Suzette might have been watching her. Millie stammers. Her answers don't land. One detective places a photo on the table. Millie gasps. It's her coat, from the closet, covered in blood. We found this in a dumpster, the detective says. Recognize it? Millie doesn't answer, because if she opens her mouth, she might scream. Enzo starts sleeping on the couch. Ada becomes distant. Nico asks questions Millie doesn't know how to answer. The once happy house is now quiet, cold, splintering, and still. Across the street, 13 Locust remains dark, but its windows always seem to glimmer, just enough to show a face, watching, waiting. And now, we're back to where we began. The blood, the carpet, the dead body in the living room. It's not Suzette this time. It's Jonathan. His eyes are glassy, lifeless. A knife lies nearby. Millie is covered in his blood, her mind spinning. The doorbell rings. A voice calls out from outside. She freezes. And just like that, she runs. Millie runs from the scene of Jonathan Lowell's murder. She's covered in his blood. Her fingerprints are everywhere. She hides in the backyard, breath ragged, eyes wide. She didn't mean to, did she? She doesn't even remember how she got there. 1 minute, she was tidying the house. The next, he was on the floor, dead. She tells herself it was self-defense. He was coming toward her. But now, no one will believe her. So she runs. When Millie finally returns home, Enzo is there. She's wild-eyed, shaken. She tells him everything: Jonathan's body, the blood, how she panicked and ran. But Enzo's face shifts as she speaks, not with horror, with something else, understanding. You've done this before, he says quietly. Millie stops breathing, and the truth comes rushing back. Before this house, before Enzo, before the kids, she was someone else, a housemaid, working in a wealthy household, cleaning, organizing, watching, until one day, the lady of the house ended up dead, and Millie was the only one home. She swore she didn't do it, but no one believed her. She went to prison. She served time. She changed her name. She started over. And now, it's happening again. Enzo is shaken. Their marriage built on a lie. He takes the kids and leaves, just for the night, he says. Millie is left alone in the house, but the house is no longer quiet. She hears footsteps above, whispers in the walls. She moves through the hallway, flashlight in hand, and then she finds something, a crawl space, hidden behind the guest bedroom closet. The crawl space is dusty, narrow, suffocating. Millie crawls inside, breath shallow. She shines her flashlight ahead and nearly screams. Photos, dozens of them, all of her, brushing her hair in the window, lying in bed with Enzo, playing with the kids in the backyard, every moment captured. From across the street, from 13 Locust Street, and taped to the wall in the center of the crawl space, a final photo of Millie, standing over a body. Millie storms across the street. She bangs on the door of 13 Locust. Janice answers, calm, cold, too calm. Millie bursts inside, demanding answers. She accuses Janice of spying, of framing her, of trying to ruin her life. Janice doesn't deny it. In fact, she smiles. You don't belong here, she says. Women like you're dangerous. Janice leads her upstairs to a locked room. Inside, monitors, surveillance cameras, tapes, every angle of Millie's house, the backyard, the bedrooms, even the bathroom. She's been watching them for months, recording everything for their safety. Janice says, you're unstable. Millie lunges. A struggle, screams. She grabs one of the tapes, shoves Janice aside, and runs. Millie rushes to the police station, the tape in hand, her body trembling. She tells them everything: the stalking, the crawl space, the photos, the camera feeds. The detectives listen. They examine the tape. They go to 13 Locust Street. Janice is arrested. As detectives investigate further, the truth comes into focus. Janice had been watching Millie since the day they moved in, obsessed, jealous, afraid of her influence on Spencer. She believed Millie was a danger just because of her past. She saw Suzette and Jonathan's interest in Millie as proof that she was manipulating them, taking over the neighborhood. So she acted. She planted the scarf, she sent the hairbrush, she took the photos, but the murders? That's where the truth gets twisted. Suzette was stabbed but not by Janice. The knife used was traced back to her own kitchen. No fingerprints. No DNA. Jonathan was killed later. That was Janice. She claimed it was self-defense, that he discovered her spying and tried to silence her. But no one believes her. 2 murders. 2 timelines. 2 killers. And Millie? Caught in the middle. Weeks pass. Janice is behind bars. Jonathan and Suzette are gone. The neighborhood is quiet again but scarred. Enzo returns eventually. He forgives Millie slowly. Ada and Nico start laughing again. The mantis dies. Life goes on. But Millie is changed. The past is never really gone. The truth always finds a way through the cracks. Spring comes. The house breathes again. The blood is gone. The police tape too. Enzo has moved back in. The kids are okay. And Millie? She's doing her best. She tells herself that the nightmare is over, that Janice is gone, that justice has been served. She lights candles in the evenings. She bakes. She plays board games with the kids. But the silence in the house still feels a little too heavy. Some things never made sense, like how Janice, so meticulous, so paranoid, could have left so many clues behind, or why the police never found any concrete link between her and Suzette's murder. Jonathan's death was pinned on Janice. But Suzette? Still a question mark, still unsolved, and even now, Millie sometimes hears a creak upstairs, a click in the walls, a whisper behind a door. She tells herself it's nothing, but her instincts don't believe her. Then, one morning, a letter arrives, from Janice, written in looping, perfect cursive, short, cold. You were right, it says, but you'll never prove it. No apology. No remorse, just a final taunt. Millie reads it 3 times, then burns it in the sink. Millie stands in the bathroom, brushing her hair. The morning light is soft. The world is quiet. She catches her reflection in the mirror. She doesn't recognize herself. Not completely. Not anymore. This house, this life, it changed her. She survived it, but she didn't escape and changed. While organizing the attic one afternoon, Millie finds a box. Old, dusty, tucked behind insulation. She opens it. Inside, photos, letters, notes, from Suzette. To someone unnamed, love letters, but the most shocking piece, a picture of Suzette in Millie's bedroom, taken before Millie ever moved in. She flips the photo over, scribbled in pencil on the back. She doesn't even know I'm here. Millie stares at the photo. The date on the back? 2 months before they bought the house. Suzette had been inside 14 Locust Street, not just watching from afar, not just snapping photos from the sidewalk. She had been in the house, watching, waiting, before Millie, before Enzo, before any of it. So then, who was she talking about in the note? Who was she? Late at night, Millie walks past Ada's bedroom. She pauses, just for a moment, and looks across the street. A T13 Locust. The windows are dark, but then a flicker of movement. Not Janice, someone else? A woman, sitting in the shadows, watching. Millie squints. Her reflection in the glass looks back at her, and in that moment, she wonders, what if it was never Janice? What if it was never Suzette? What if the real danger is still inside the house?